Welcome to Conversations with a Couple of Crones. We invite you to join us as we gather around our hearth and talk about our journeys with the gene keys and our personal transformations. Welcome everyone to Season 2, Episode 3 of Conversations with a Couple of Crones. And we are so excited today because we have a guest star, and we've never had a guest star before. We have Samantha Vigliotti with us today, and Samantha has combined emotional freedom technique, many people also call it tapping, with the gene keys. And I had the privilege and the deep, honest work. I don't even know how to describe it. I've had the privilege of working with Samantha for 8 months, combining this tapping with my gene keys. And I'm so excited to have her here with us. And we have a lot of questions about this, Samantha. But first, I think we need to let you introduce yourself. Go.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Lizzie, for having me. It's an honor to be here and a privilege. And I'm excited for this conversation and excited to see what flows from it. I am Samantha, EFT with Samantha Lee, and I've been tapping for over a decade. My mom was a practitioner, and so she taught me the modality, and I didn't really use it as much as I could have over the years, but around 2018, I started tapping more consistently. And then so when I found the gene keys in 2020, the combination just happened naturally.
Sure.
And so, I've quit my corporate job in summer of 2023 and started my certification in EFT, clinical EFT, and Gene Keys Guides program. And I've just been building towards that ever since.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. We have questions. Go for it, Lizzie. Go for it.
Hi, and yeah, thank you so much for agreeing to come on the podcast. And like I was saying before we started recording it, I'm a little bit nervous, and I think Megan's a little bit nervous as well because we've never had a guest before, and we both want it to be perfect. But of course, it will be perfect. It will be exactly what it needs to be. So I don't have as much experience with EFT as Megan does. I did actually first try it probably about 20 years ago. But I was in a really, really dark place at the time, and it was one of a gazillion different things I was trying, in that period of my life where I was desperately seeking something outside of myself to fix me. So I feel like I'm just fresh into EFT, and have been using it quite a lot since we started the Sages journey, because I know you're doing the Sages journey with the Gene Keys as well. And a couple of weeks into the life's work, into the Sage, I've been having all of these digestive problems. I've been having all of these body problems. And of course, Richard is making the whole Sage's journey such a somatic experience. And that feels really perfect. It is exactly what I need to be doing. This is my third time around the whole golden path. And Megan actually suggested, why don't I do some tapping just to see, because as I say, I was getting really sick. So I started with your tapping script for Gene Key 39, which is my life's work, and almost immediately was just like, yes, this is exactly what I need to be doing. So for the sort of second half of the life's work, and since we moved into our evolution, which is 38, and luckily you've recorded both of them, I've been tapping every night when I get into bed, I do the tapping before I go to sleep. And it feels to me like it's just like letting me settle into my body. But I don't really understand why it's working or what it's doing. So I would just kind of like to ask you that, how does it work? What is it doing?
Totally, totally. Yeah, so the points that we're tapping on are the ends of the meridian lines. So it's a similar science to acupuncture, acupressure, where we're stimulating those points and it's signaling to the body that it's safe to slow down, to turn inward. Um, yeah, there's a lot of science and research on EFTuniverse.com, which is where I got my certification. I don't hold these facts in my mind very well, but I have seen it work just, miracles. Because I think it's a combination of being witnessed. Well, I guess let's not go there yet because that's in a one-to-one session, but just witnessing yourself, saying things out loud and calming the system allows you to kind of get out of your head and more into your body so that when you're hearing the words, they can just land a little bit deeper
Mm.
and you can feel the truth of them that already lives inside of you because we know this. These codes are in our DNA. The words don't even matter. Even Richard says that. It's really about the wisdom that lies inside of you. So just creating that space to slow down, to tune into your body, I think is really powerful. And I'm so glad you've been using the tappings. That's amazing.
Yeah, like I say, I felt almost from the start of doing it with the 39 that I really was connecting in with something. When you were talking about that shadow of provocation, and I could actually feel it as a physical sensation in
Mm-hmm.
my jaw and sort of in the back of my throat. It was the strangest feeling, but it was like, this is really good that I must, it felt like I was loosening something, you know?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I need to explain to anybody on YouTube who is watching this that Samantha, since last summer, has been bringing in a tapping script for the pulse, every pulse since then. So her first one was Gene Key 52. And so every pulse, we get a new script, tapping script to go with that gene key. And that's all housed within the membership called GKU, Gene Keys Unleashed with Haley, which you will find in the notes underneath this video. So I just wanted, I mean, part of our audience is the
Mm-hmm.
GKU women and men,
Mm-hmm.
but we also have a YouTube audience now as well. So come on
Yeah.
in, come on in, and
Totally.
it's beautiful to have all of these scripts. I was able to do my life's work 34, but I didn't have a Gene Key 20 script because she hasn't done Gene Key 20, and that's my evolution. So instead, I've been tapping to everything else. I'll tap to the pulse when she comes in, or I'll tap to Richard's audios. You know,
Mhm.
I'll tap to the activation meditations that Haley gives us in Gene Keys Unleashed. Just
Yeah.
you name it, I'll tap to it. That
Same.
as long as it's positive. It's certainly you're not going to tap negative crap, but yeah,
Well, you could. And, remember in our sessions, we start with what is, even if
this
you
is
think it's
true.
negative.
That was actually one of my questions. So, what is the difference? What have you found the difference being tapping to a script like that, where we start with where we're at and move into like we always start with, even though I'm feeling nervous and scared right now,
Mhm.
I still love and accept myself. That's a statement there. Now, of course, when I'm listening to my audio from Richard, I don't have that statement.
Mm-mm.
Is there is that kind of the difference between clinical EFT and just tapping? I'm What do you think?
Yeah. Um, I don't know what the technical, term you would call just tapping along with random audio, because that's how it started for me. I
Mm-hmm.
started tapping Richard's audios, and for me, it just allowed me to get out of my head and to let the information land.
Okay.
It wasn't so much that I was like doing EFT, it was just calming my body down.
Okay.
Um, Clinical EFT is designed to be specific
Okay.
to you. So when I go into a session, that's when we're like, your body, your story.
Right.
Um,
Right. And
I
I
would
know
say
with that kind of situation, we're able to release past traumas. Uh,
exactly. The goal is to get to the root
right.
in
Right.
clinical EFT.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're talking right now about the body itself. We're calming the body by tapping on these meridian lines. And yet, so much of the work that I was doing with you felt emotional.
Yeah. And like, where do we store our emotions?
Gotcha. Okay,
In
so
our
that's the
body.
connection. The body has stored some emotions that want to move out or
Yeah.
want to flow.
Yeah. And there's also connection to the mind and the brain because we're using a little bit of exposure therapy by talking
That's
about the
right.
thing. And you're lighting up those neural pathways, remembering the specific aspects and like what it, the details of the memory.
Hmm.
And then at the same time, you're signaling to your body that it's safe now.
That's safe.
And
Okay.
that allows you to kind of rewire those neural pathways.
I'd have to say that that is probably the biggest thing looking back is the rewiring, that, I had this really horrible teacher in first and second grade that I, learned a lot of corrupted belief systems around. And when it was brought up in our tapping sessions, I was able to rewire that into a place of safety and of a whole different set of, what if I am now safe to feel those feelings? Or what if I'm allowed to use my voice now when I was never allowed to use my voice in that classroom, you know? So I love that idea of rewiring it and
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah. And also releasing those stored and trapped emotions, you know.
right,
There's a
right.
lot of release throughout our sessions too.
Yeah. I just need to let you
I
guys know
found
we did a tapping session right before we came on here, and just in that first tapping session, she had me crying. Samantha did. So
Like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go deep.
I've just worked with you so long, once a week
Yeah.
for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
For eight
8 months.
eight
Yeah.
months is a lot. So my body said, "Oh, I'm safe with Samantha. I can
Oh,
let
it's fine.
go about
Release.
perfection."
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I
time to
found
release.
it interesting because I wanted to try and prepare a little bit for today because I wasn't really sure how we were going to run this podcast. So I thought, oh, I'll go back and I'll watch your introduction videos
Yeah.
on EFT that you've got in the Gene Keys Unleashed space. And it was really interesting because I haven't watched them for ages. And just how you say there that some of those tapping points, like the eyebrow point and the side of the we go to those to calm ourselves anyway, even without thinking. And I even thought, I do this a lot. This part of me is part of my calming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very
Hmm.
interesting.
It's so
Yeah.
intuitive. Our bodies are
Yeah.
so intelligent. And that's the thing too, is like just creating enough space for the body to like not have so much pressure. It can do what it does magnificently, just heal.
Yeah.
I've
What I like,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
you go on.
You're
Well, I was just going to say what I like is the way that, and you've said it quite a few times already today, is about creating that safety, that feeling of safety. Because I know, I mean, I've been working with my jinkies for about 3 years now, um, and the thread, or one of the many threads that has run through it, has been about me finding the safety inside myself, and I've I've got that on the mental plane because as I say, I'm on my third iteration of the Golden Path, fourth time actually through the activation sequence. And I got that on a mental plane ages ago. And it really last year started to drop in on an emotional level that I carry my safety inside me. And now it feels like, right, now we're getting down to the body. Now we actually have to feel that safety in my body. And I think that might be why it just from that, as soon as Megan said, why don't you try tapping since you've got all this physical stuff going on? And it
Yeah.
was like, yeah. And it is that bringing that feeling of safety into my physical body, not just my mind or my emotions, feels
Hmm.
really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually, what I was going to say is very similar to that. My gene keys, that 3420 with a line 6, my first initial response to any kind of threat is to escape my body. And so, if I'm escaped my body, I can't help my body feel safe. None of that. So the tapping has been really beautiful in helping me to understand the physicality of my life's work, how important it is to be in our bodies as we are moving through this life, because this is where it happens. This is the divinity. We're not going to find it out there, you know?
Mm.
And the tapping is just, I don't know, Samantha, ever since I stopped working with you, I went for a while with that tapping. And then Richard said, we're going to be doing somatic stuff. And I went, I know some somatic stuff. So I
Yeah.
have been, my prayers have been tapping prayers every day now. Either that or I'll do hand mudras, depending on, you know,
Hmm.
yeah, or a
Yeah.
combination. When you're listening to Richard do your thing, you can, do the tapping up until he hits the city, and then you do
That's
the hand
exactly what I
mudra.
do.
Yeah,
Yep.
I love that.
Too.
So, did you
Mm.
find when you started combining the tapping with the gene keys, do you like so you take one particular gene key? Do you find it flows really easily? You know, shadow to gift to city through the sort of the map of the tapping script. Do you know what I mean? Do you have to think a lot about it, or does it come intuitively?
It definitely comes intuitively. But the way I do it is like I'll read the chapter and take notes and quotes from the book and put them in a Notion app and or sheet, and then listen to the audio from Richard, and then the way I go through it is I start at the shadow and sit with it and pull out the pieces that feel like they want to be included. And yeah, it's a very intuitive process, just letting things come to me. I don't really think too much about it.
Hmm.
And so when I do them, and why it takes me so long to do them is because I have to do them like right after my morning practice. I'm still like in in that place of connection to my heart
Hmm.
and my higher self. And yeah, I just kind of let it flow out of me.
We've noticed since 52 is your first one, and we've both been tapping to 52, but then we've also tapped to later ones. You've matured in
Mhm.
your delivery and in your putting together of these. Uh,
Totally.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because I was doing them previously on YouTube or on Instagram,
right.
short reels. And so at a certain point, I knew I was going to be doing the longer ones, but I wasn't doing them yet. So I wrote them out. And so when I get to one now, I'm like, nope, I gotta redo it. This isn't it. I'm like, why did I bother? But it
Uh,
was all part of the process. So it's like,
Absolutely. And
yeah,
that is actually such a blessing for all of us to see people's processes. We
yeah,
have in our culture, we tend to think that person is done. He's cooked. Look at him. He's famous. There's no more growth left in him. That's ridiculous. We're always work in progress. So
yeah.
that we have examples like you and Haley, and even my videos, looking back at some of the older videos, it's like, wow, it's great to see people in process, you know.
Totally. I mean, we wouldn't
Yeah,
be here on Earth if we were complete.
That's right.
I know.
That's true. Oh my gosh.
So you said you just mentioned your morning practice. So is
Mm.
that when you tend to do EFT? Is it a morning practice for you, or is it an evening practice?
EFT is anytime I need it. But yes, I do usually work it into my morning practice, even if it's a just quick tap through the points as I'm listening to a meditation or just as I'm working on the pulse. Sometimes I'll have half of it done and I'll just tap to the beginning half and then continue on with the rest of it, or tap to an audio of Richard's or anything like that. But yeah, I start with, and this has been like maybe 2 years now, that I've been saying the ladies' prayer every morning,
Yeah.
and sitting with the grace mudra.
Yeah. Do
Mhm.
you know that you have the seven sacred seals, right?
Oh yeah.
You know he's recorded the ladies' prayer in there. You can download it to your phone.
No, I
He,
didn't know that. I didn't realize
yeah,
that.
he does.
Um,
He has all the prayers that he has in Seven Sacred Seals are him reading
amazing.
them. So I've
Amazing.
tapped those as well.
Oh, beautiful. Well, yeah, so I don't tap to the prayers. I actually just say them and sit with the
You just say
mudra.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I over the past like
Ah,
year
gotcha.
started saying the Lord's Prayer as well because I just started to
Yeah.
feel like, okay, I want to come back into balance. Like I had to swing so far to the feminine because of
Yeah.
all my hustling and over, working. And then I also do the Holy Incantation of Solace
Yes. Yeah.
with the
I
mudras.
did that before we came on today.
It's so
Yeah.
powerful and just,
Do you
yeah.
do you know he also has the solace on the Triple Flame app? Yeah.
Yes,
He
I
has the
do.
5 minute
Yeah.
version and a 10-minute version. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I was doing it with him. Now I've figured out which of the music is the same
Yes.
music. It's the quiescence, I think. And so I just do a 10-minute quiescence on the app and do the two prayers and the holy incantation just
Nice.
myself. And then, yeah, I do some breath work and stretching and
You got a whole
EFT. And
thing.
then, yeah, EFT anytime I need it. If I have something that's present that's ruminating, I'll do it any time of day. But mostly in the
Nice.
morning. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Lizzie, did you have any other questions about EFT?
And I because obviously you've done a lot more work with Samantha than I have, and you've gone into more depth because I know there's more to it than those tapping points that you use in the scripts that we've got in GKU. So what other parts of the book did I hear you say, Megan, that there's something to do with the eyes as well? Eye
Right.
movements. So
Right.
yeah, I just wondered
Yeah,
what other parts are involved.
totally. Yeah. And that's another, thing that makes clinical EFT different than I think just tapping or, yeah. The other thing is a lot of like tapping things you'll find on the internet is just like affirmation based or, tapping on the positive, which is fine sometimes, but to get to the root of something, you really need to sit with what is, which is so beautifully interwoven with the gene keys and allowing the shadow. Um, Now I've forgotten the question.
Oh,
Oh,
it
yes,
has.
yes, yeah, I remember it. So when deep things come up, we need more tools. So there is a whole sequence that we go through using different points, like finger points, and there's a point on the back of the hand here that we rub. And yeah, we do eye movements where we're just looking around the peripherals of our vision. And this is kind of simulating what our eyes do during REM sleep, which is when our brain is cleaning out neural pathways. And yeah, it's really powerful and helps move that emotion and release the stuck parts. Um, and yeah, there's a little process after that, and then we go back into tapping. But yeah, sometimes we need a different tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was listening to the Q&A cafe this last week with Elijah and Liv and Darius. And Liv was talking about when our nervous systems get knocked off kilter, and it can actually happen in our inward journey. Like I would have to say, when you're on the golden path, every time you change a sphere, we're about to change our sphere into the radiant sphere, that shadow is going to come up. And something is going to happen in your life that will bring that shadow to the fore. And your nervous system can get off kilter. And I
Mhm.
think tapping is such a great way to bring it back into harmony, to bring this, whatever has come up, we can admit, okay, even though I am feeling really overwhelmed with the car breaking down and not having a way to get our groceries. I'm feeling so overwhelmed with that. Do some little tapping back. Even though
Mhm.
I feel so overwhelmed by that, I can still deeply and completely love myself. I mean, that's such a
Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah.
pairing, you know?
And just knowing like a healthy nervous system can deal with those things.
Right.
And so like EFT isn't even about like, let me just be regulated all the time and be calm all the time. Sometimes when you start tapping on something, it gets more
Yes,
activated.
this is
And that's
true.
okay
I've
too.
seen
And
that.
that's okay too. Yeah, it's really, it's just a tool to help you move through it and not get stuck in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah. And then eventually, after moving it, you do return to
Right.
center and you do find this place that personally I know I find I can hear my inner voice of guidance, my intuition more clearly
Yeah.
as I calm the system.
I did want to just mention to people those other things that Samantha was talking about, like the eye movements and the edge of the fingers and stuff. I have never done those without Samantha. And I doubt, well, that's not true. You can also go to sleep with the eye movements. That sometimes
Mm-hmm,
helps
hmm.
sleeplessness. But as a clinical way of moving through an emotion, I haven't ever done it without Samantha. Even though I have the technology, there is something about having somebody else asking you the questions and watching you and listening to you to pull out the things that need to be calmed, that need to be integrated, all of that. So, we all
Yes,
highly recommend Samantha in a one-on-one situation.
thank you. Yeah, it's really hard to access your own subconscious. In
Yeah,
fact, it's probably impossible. I find it difficult to do for myself too.
yeah,
Sometimes if I like wake up in the middle of the night from a weird dream and something's present, I can access it, but for the most part, yeah, it's hard to just like get into your subconscious. And I think that the witnessing aspect is really powerful too in its own right.
hmm yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. There are so many parts of the gene keys that can be unconscious. You've got line two, like my line two and my radiance. I'm quite unconscious about that. Even my life's work 34, I'm pretty unconscious about how that works. And it's so great to have someone seeing it and saying, okay, stop now. Let's go back to what you just said here and tell me where in your body that is, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
It's a great gift
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
have. Yeah.
creating a pause,
Yeah.
like we said, a space to really slow down
Yeah.
and listen. Because, yeah, we all get in our heads and try to figure out why we are the way we are. And oh, yeah, it makes sense because of this and the shadow. And that's an amazing place to start too. But once you can feel it in your body, yeah, it's
Yeah.
a different experience.
I think one of the things that I like about it as well is that sort of self-soothing
Mhm.
about it,
Yeah.
because that's definitely something. Obviously, with the work with the gene keys, I've done a lot of work, especially through the Venus sequence, on childhood trauma and healing that inner child. And it was something that I didn't have as a child was the touch. You know, I I I didn't have that sort of family. And a lot of my childhood trauma, I felt very cut off physically from other people. I wasn't being given the hugs and the soothing that I should have been given or I felt like I needed. And I feel like with the tapping, I'm it's almost like I'm going, it's okay. And I'm soothing myself and I'm I'm physically holding that inner child and saying, it's okay. It is okay. And I like that aspect of it.
Mhm.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we decided to bring Samantha on, one of the an accompanying thread was that we were finding something for our bite-sized bravery article in our Cauldron of Crones for March, right? We posted at the beginning of the month, and it's a gentle challenge to people to bring in a certain energy. And for some reason, the word restraint popped into my mind. And so we are doing our bite-sized bravery around restraint. And then at the same time came in that idea to bring in Samantha. So I think I'd love to open the field into that gene key of 52 and see where that goes. 52 has a little bit of a special meaning to you, Samantha?
Yeah, it's my EQ.
Oh, it is your EQ. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. I know.
And
Okay.
yeah, it was the first workshop I did, which
I
I
went
believe
to
were
that.
both of you there? Was Lizzie there?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's been a focus, and therefore, like you said, it comes up to challenge you.
Yeah.
That shadow of stress is very um, present in my life.
Yeah.
And so I have to be very conscious and aware of.
I think what I was thinking about is that we went through the holidays in December. Lots of stress during the holidays, even if they're wonderful, it's still stress. Then January comes in, those New Year's resolutions, some of us started a new program, the Sage's Journey, some other people did another, Devoted, Haley with Devoted. Then we had the Gene Keys New Year, and then we had, the shift from the year of the snake into the year of the fire horse, and the fire horse is galloping along and blah, blah, blah. And it's like I felt like we have all this movement forward when all I really want to do at this point is calm down,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I want to bring in Gene Key 49 too, because
Oh,
I
sure.
really feel them weaving together, at least for me this year, especially with the horse
Yeah.
being the gift of revolution. And it's the shadow of reaction.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's so much happening in our world and it's happening so fast. It's like we're all just reacting to it. We can't really create a new world from that place.
Right.
We need this gift of restraint to pause.
Yeah.
Like we said, we need that moment of like calm to connect to that inner voice, that inner guidance, or else we're just reacting from our shadow patterns, from our, you know,
Yeah.
um, the things we've been programmed to believe and
Yeah.
act on.
The the dream arc animals that I love for 52 are the tortoise and the armadillo, and their message is to to restraint is kind of a funny word. It's not a word that I would normally think I need, and yet what restraint is meaning is to calm yourself enough to get into the rhythm of the cosmic consciousness or the rhythm of nature, the rhythm of our own actual calm bodies, a rhythm that is natural, not this cultural idea of do this now and do that now and now we're on this, oh, we're gonna, everything's gonna change and we're gonna be all great and blah blah whatever, somebody else's rhythm, when in truth the restraint is just getting into a more natural rhythm, you
Mhm.
know. uh,
Mm, yeah. And being able to access your unique gifts.
yeah.
rather than being in your head about what you should or shouldn't be doing at this time. And that's a big focus of mine this year is like, what is your actual role in this revolution?
Right.
Hmm.
Mm.
What is
And how
your
do we
role in
move?
this revolution? Yeah.
Yeah, and how do we move from being reaction? This is from the book or maybe the audio. How do we become revolutionary in a reactionary world
Right.
so we can rebirth humanity?
Right.
And we definitely need this restraint, stillness,
Slowing down.
slowing down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we won't hear the messages without that.
Yeah, we can't see the vision
All right.
of our heart when our minds are so cluttered and distracted with chaos.
Right. I find, at first I was going, how does 52 match with tapping? But
Mm.
it's clearly come into a wholeness with the tapping bringing us back into a sense
Mhm.
of stillness in a way. Yeah, into a
Yeah,
stillness.
and
And out
creating.
of, as you said, out of the mind, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I find pausing to be so important too. And sometimes it's hard to pause. And so
Yeah.
just having a little moment of like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just,
For anybody who is listening to this, Samantha is touching the points on her breastbones,
collarbone. Yeah.
collarbone. Yeah. And now I am.
Yeah, it's interesting. I because I've always chosen words for the year, to be the energy that I want to bring. And I've done that for quite a few years. And when I was choosing the words for this year, I knew that I was actually choosing them for the whole of the Sage's journey because I feel like I'm really into an even slower, because I spent the whole of last year in devoted with Haley and doing my whole golden path over a year, and then move straight into doing the sage and stretching it out even further, to 16 months. So I was choosing my words to be with me, the energy. And I knew that I wanted acceptance, which is my culture gene key 25. So I knew that I wanted acceptance because I know that acceptance is central to all of the gene keys in my chart. And I wanted creativity. And at first I started thinking that I wanted calmness as a word, because the salmon, when I was in my culture, the salmon in the dream arc really leapt out at me to say, slow down. That thing of the salmon where it moves out of the stream of life into the calm, quiet pools. So I had thought calm or calmness. And then I thought, no, that's not quite it. And then it was stillness. And I had completely forgotten that stillness was actually a city in the Gene Keys. I just knew that that was the word. And it was when I shared it, and it was Esther who said, oh, yeah, stillness, Gene Key 52. And it's like, oh, how perfect. And what perfect energy to have for this whole journey, because the deeper I go into the Gene Keys, knowing that I'm going to be doing this work for the rest of my life, the slower I want to go. I want to slow myself. I want
Yeah.
to slow this work right down and really drop it into the stillness inside me.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
love
Get
I love this jinky.
so much deeper when you go slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say a note about acceptance too, because love that key and love that word. And that is just like the epitome of the Gene Keys and EFT together.
Ah,
Because
yes.
the Gene Keys are all about accepting our shadows, allowing them to be there. And so I want to make sure people understand that when we're tapping, we're not trying to get rid of the shadow. We're not trying to like cure ourselves of it. We're creating space to witness it and to change our perception of it. and our perspective, and to stop trying to control it and resist it and, get rid of it. It's like, okay, even though I have this shadow pattern, I still deeply and completely love and accept myself exactly as I am in this moment. And you keep saying that until it shifts.
Yeah.
And maybe it
Yeah.
doesn't shift in one session or one tapping, script. And that's okay, because
Hmm.
that's not the point. The point is to bring awareness in there and to love yourself anyway. That's
Yeah.
the point of the gene keys of tapping. It's really just moving from fear to love.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I hadn't even thought of that. That is what you say. I deeply and completely love and accept myself, of
Mhm.
course. And
Mhm.
that was the thing when I'd already looked at Gene Key 25 because I'd done the Pearl before. But then last year when we got to the culture key, and it was suddenly like, oh my God, acceptance is at the core of every single gene key because that's what we want. You're right. We're not doing this work to fix ourselves and eradicate the shadows. We're doing this work so we can accept every aspect of ourselves and accept exactly what is in this moment and that it is perfect. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's like the link, isn't it? With the EFT and the gene keys. How perfect.
Yeah, yeah, it
So,
really just came together. I mean, I'm aligned too, so it came together very naturally and easily. And they just, yeah, they complement each other, at least in the way that I practice them and the way that they're, I think, intended to be. Yeah.
yeah, beautiful.
You had a question, I think, about community circle.
Oh, yes, which I've just remembered. Because I was having a look, as I say, doing my research
Yeah.
today, and you had said something in your introduction in GKU that you were planning to do community circles, and is that still something that you hope to do?
I haven't been doing them virtually yet. So if there are people
Oh,
out
okay.
there who are interested in doing a tapping circle virtually inside GKU, let me know because I would like to start it. I have been in the midst of transition. Um, I say moving, but I didn't even know I was coming here. It was a temporary thing at first, and it's kind of like my word for last year was surrender. So I have just been flowing with it. I got to Asheville, North Carolina in late July, and talk about stress. There was a lot of anxiety and things that came up in the beginning, but I've really been focusing on in-person community here and building this, yeah, community here. And so I did like a tapping circle in person, and now I've got a free group for the Sage that we just, it's a community group. It's not my group, but we get together and talk about that, and we do some tapping there as well. Um, but yeah, my goal was always to have a tapping circle or just a group tapping opportunity
So would you
inside
use the
GKU.
pulse, that kind of thing, or like,
Potentially, I think I even listed it on my intro that it could be the pulse, it could be a sphere,
oh, a sphere would be
it could be
interesting,
the
wouldn't it?
dream arc, it could be
Yeah, yeah,
anything
yeah.
related that is coming up for people that we want to focus on, and it could be like community decided or anything
Oh,
like
that
that.
sounds cool.
I would love to start doing that. Um, Yeah, that'd be great. I was just kind of like I put it out there and I'm a projector, so I'm now waiting for the invitation.
Gotcha.
Oh well, consider yourself invited because I would definitely come along to that.
Yeah, amazing.
I
Let's
love
do
the
it.
idea of doing a sphere. That would
Yeah.
be really interesting.
Yeah, yeah, I actually did start creating scripts for the spheres
Wow.
Oh,
as we're going through the Sage. Um, so yeah, I'm undecided on like where that's going to be housed. It's currently in my private section in the membership. Um, just because I want to start building value in like my section.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you put an invitation into GKU people to your private section?
No, because there wasn't really anything in there. And I think that's also
Okay.
kind of where like these tapping circles would happen. And then maybe
Right.
workshops like the one on stillness. And like there's where the recordings would be housed and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Mm.
So you're in the middle of birthing that whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Got it.
Yeah, I like that idea of the spheres because I know when we did the journey with Devoted last year, because obviously there were 12 of us in that group.
Mhm.
So it wasn't like doing the one-to-one work with Haley where she was focusing on one gene key. So she
Mhm.
was bringing our attention to the sphere and to the pathways. And I got so much more out of it. I actually started to really understand the spheres at a much deeper level,
Mhm.
looking at that and also seeing the other women, even though they didn't have the same gene key. You know, we rarely had people with the same gene key in the same sphere at the same time, you know. So, but seeing other women, what was happening for them and the breakthroughs that they were having within that sphere really it just expanded my understanding of the sphere for myself.
Mhm.
So that sounds really good. I would definitely be interested in that.
Amazing. Yeah, maybe we just start like if you two ladies want to come in there and if we want to start doing a tapping circle, we can because I feel like I'm just waiting to know that people want that
Or interested. Yeah.
and are interested. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So if
So
anyone listening to
Asheville,
this
that
is
sounds like a
interested, let us know.
Right. Exactly.
yeah, I was just going to say Asheville, they've got a very vibrant sort of alternative community there, haven't they? And very artistic community. I'm a
Yeah.
huge fan of Rise in Appalachia. And I
Mhm.
know that they talk a lot about the community gardens and you know the sort of great creative buzz in Asheville. It sounds like an amazing place.
Totally. Yeah. And it's taken a minute to adjust and to settle in enough to feel like, okay, yeah, like I could see myself here. There's a whole rabbit hole of we could go down about the stress and the anxiety from the beginning, but um, the Gene Keys community here, I'm really excited about. Like we have our Sage smaller group, and I've had more people reach out who found me through the Gene Keys website because of the Sage and the guides, how they are
Mhm.
highlighting
Yeah.
our offerings. And it's like the group is full now. There's 10 of us. That's kind of max to be able to share equally, in a couple of hours. And so there's like three more people who want to join. And I'm like, we need to like do something else that can include everybody. And so we're going to do a quarterly meetup that's just very casual at a coffee shop where you just come and mingle and talk to people about Gene Keys. And so yeah, we just shared that on the Gene Keys Global Facebook group, and that became my new part-time job was like
Yeah.
responding to those comments and sending the details to people because people, yeah, there's a lot of Gene Keys community around here, and we want to get together. So my not so secret goal is to grow the community here so that we can attract Richard in 2027 when he does
When
his
he does his
On
tour.
his
tour. Yeah,
tour.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Excellent.
Mm.
Ah.
I actually have a whimsical question for everybody. Just one question for everybody.
Yeah, we have a tradition, Samantha, that we end our podcast with a whimsical question to each other. I didn't come with one prepared. You're so prepared. Huh?
It just keeps in the back of my mind. If you had a flying tortoise, what would its name be?
Hmm. Charles is coming to mind, and I don't know why.
I love it. As soon as I made up the
Fancy.
question, as soon as I made up the question, I thought it's Eloise.
Oh,
Eloise, the
Oh,
lighthearted. Yes.
Sweet.
Oh,
Charles,
yeah, I think
Charles and Eloise.
Cute.
What about you, Lizzie?
Timothy. Timothy
Timothy.
Tortoise. It has to be
Timothy Torres.
alliteration.
You know, now I'm going to start a whole trope because my husband's name is Timothy. So, Timothy the tortoise.
Oh, amazing.
I would never. I always thought of tortoises. I wouldn't have thought of them as a fierke. I would have
Oh,
thought of them as, but of course they're not, are they? They're not mammals.
they're
Yeah.
Are they
reptiles. Yeah.
amphibians?
They're,
Reptiles, yeah.
and it's the tortoise is the fear of being stuck. That's an interesting
Mm,
juxtaposition. It's the shadow of stress, but the fear of being stuck.
Hmm.
So that's a contemplation all on its own, you know.
Definitely. I feel like with the dream arc, it's like a different, I mean, it's obviously a different thing, but it's not shadowy
I
fear.
agree. I don't think the
Like
fear keys are very
even
shadowy at
the
all. Yeah.
butterfly is the
Yeah.
shadow of
yeah,
reaction.
Yeah.
They hold like the key to transcending that shadow.
I think if you
yeah,
were doing the dream arc, you could do it all with the underworld creatures because the key to that city is in that underworld creature. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
Yeah. So, and the
Mm.
deck is coming out maybe in October.
Oh,
yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
exciting.
So,
Okay.
do we have anything else or should we say goodbye to everybody?
Yeah, I don't think I've got any more questions.
Did you want to say
Mm.
anything else, Samantha? We'll be putting your link, of course, to your website in our
Amazing.
notes.
No, just that I'm happy to be able to sharing the tappings in GKU and everybody's comments when they comment how it's sitting with them or impacting them or activating something. Those really mean a lot to me because it does take a lot of time and energy to
Yes.
create them.
Yeah.
And, at this point in my business, I'm just doing that for free.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
something I'm creating and investing my time in having this body of work. But I love that I get to share it along the way and
Yeah.
get feedback. And so, yeah, keep sharing your comments if you are using them, and if you're not, I invite you to try them and let us know how they feel. And yeah, if anyone's looking to deepen their experience in the body, reach out if you have any questions on how that looks or how we could do that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can highly recommend, to the GKU community who might be watching this to use your tapping scripts to each of the gene keys because I know that I am going to be using them for the rest of the Sage's journey. I don't know what I'm going to do in my radiance because you haven't done 21 yet.
We're almost there. We're getting pretty close.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
But so two things. I want to make sure it's clear that in GKU, they are audios that you
Yes.
can tap
Yes.
along to with music and it's guided and I tell you which point to tap on. It's not like a script that you have to read yourself.
Mm.
And then, oh, what was the second thing? What were you just saying? Hmm.
Just that I recommend that people use them as they're moving through
Oh, and she
their
doesn't
own
have
golden path.
21 yet.
Oh,
So,
that was the thing. I realized I've gotten more than halfway through all of them. So therefore, everybody should have half of their activation
Yeah,
sequence
that's
at the
right.
very least
Right.
there.
yeah,
So we could be listening to the programming partner if we don't have
Hmm.
the other one yet. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Yeah.
because I know that 48 is in there. So
Mhm.
I shall use 48 as the
Perfect.
programming partner. Yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because they're
Mm.
so connected anyway. Like
Yeah.
And
yeah.
for anyone in GKU who wants to do the tapping, Samantha has a whole lesson on the points so
Mhm.
that you can, once you've learned them, and they're actually quite simple to learn, then you can just listen to the audios and she'll tell you when to move your
Yeah.
tapping fingers. Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Can I just say as well, Samantha, your voice is just beautiful. It's just so there's so much emotion in it, and it's so soft and gentle, and it is just, you pitch it absolutely perfectly. I just feel really at ease when I'm listening to you.
Mm.
So it's not just the words that you're saying, it's the way that you're saying it. It's just absolutely lovely.
Thank you so much, Lizzie. That means a lot to me because a lot of times in my life, people tell me, I can't hear you, speak up. And I just refuse. And it's in one of my keys. It might be my life's work, 23, where it's like, no, you pull people in, and the people who are meant to be drawn in by your frequency and your voice will listen.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
Thank you.
you pulled me in, and it's perfect.
Thank you.
Well, thank you everybody for listening or watching, whichever. And we will see you possibly next week. We're trying to get back onto a schedule. We've been AWOL for a bit, but
Yeah.
we're coming back. Um, Whenever you see us is when you will see us or hear us. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for everybody for listening and witnessing us. And bye bye.
And thank you, Samantha.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Thank you.